So, hello everyone. We all know how big the problem of unemployment is in today's scenario. We see debates happening, people discussing, the youth of today discussing, even after being qualified, being educated, being graduates, postgraduates, there is, uh, somewhere a lacuna in the system, a vacuum in the system which needs to be filled with regard to employment. So, the reason why I say unemployment is a problem is not just because of the fact that jobs are not available. It is also because of the fact that appropriate jobs are not available. For example, you are expecting a certain package, you are not getting the same, and you want to get into a different work profile, but since there is lack of jobs, you are getting forcefully into something which you don't want to do because of certain responsibilities which you need to adhere to. Also because of the fact that you are a fresher, but then the job of a fresher actually requires people to be experienced. We see these things in the job description and we get irritated, frustrated. So all these are the lacunas in the system of this employment process, which obviously needs to be filled in through the responsible people. I mean, this problem needs to be addressed for sure. But what I'm trying to do through this video is that the domain that I have been part of throughout my academic journey and because of my professional qualifications is big four organizations. And I think it would be appropriate for me to, guide you as to how, if you want to, be a part of the big four industry, how you can actually behave in a certain manner or do certain things that it will be easier for you to ace these interviews, because we see people getting rejected every now and then, and obviously there's no proper feedback from the HR, or let's say for example any managerial authority, that as to why they did not select you. I mean, good organizations do give you a reason, and but it's very limited. I mean, it's, you will not usually find people giving you a very constructive criticism kind of feedback. So we do not understand, and we make the same mistake in the next interview, and we join organizations which are not very fulfilling for your career aspirations. So I will be sharing my tips and tricks, my idea of how to ace these big four interviews so that it can be helpful for your career development in the long run. Now, why I think I am appropriate to guide you is that because I have, have had the fortune to clear all the big four interviews, and I know the in and out of the processes. So I think I have a better idea, and so a little perspective will help you if you are a fresher, and if you're seeing this video. Obviously, you will be a potential job seeker, or you would be actively looking for a job, and you actually want to make it to a big organization. So I think this video could be helpful. So I have just mentioned the pointers which I'm going to discuss. The first pointer is, what are big fours basically? So big fours, as we may understand, they are the big four accounting firms that are present throughout the globe, not just India, throughout the globe. And namely, obviously, a lot of people you will be aware, but let me also make you recall. It's PwC, EY, KPMG, and Deloitte. These are the big four organizations, and what are the services that these organizations cater to for the people as a whole in the society? They provide accounting services, professional services in the form of auditing services, assurance services, consulting services, taxation services, and whatnot. So I mean, and they also, it's not like just they hire professionals, they also hire graduates who for some reason are not holding any professional qualification, but they need qualified people. So a professional certification may not guarantee that you will be an asset to the organization. As a graduate also, you can be an asset to the organization if you have upscaled yourself, you are very skillful. It's just that you don't have a professional degree, but at least you're a graduate. So these big four try to capture these graduates as well. So obviously, my target audience of this video is also the graduates who are trying to seek a good job into organization and try to upscale their career through this. Because as a matter of fact, if you go into another organization after you graduate, it won't help you. As per my belief, it won't help you in such a manner that a big four could give a boost to your career at the very grassroots level. So this is the basically idea of what big fours are and what they do. I mean, probably when you start working, you will have a better idea of the same. Secondly, the importance of a good CV. So I see a lot of people trying to neglect the fact that how important their CV needs to be when they're applying for a good job. I obviously always recommend people to attach a cover letter along with the CV, which a lot of people don't do. As a matter of fact, even I did not do it at some point in my life, but then I realized the importance of attaching a cover letter to a good CV when you're mailing it to the HR. And also, let me just point out a fact of Big Fours, that when you have references, it makes you easier to get in and get your CV screened, actually reach the appropriate person. When you try to apply through job portals, the process I'm not saying it's impossible to get your CV screened. If it's a good CV, it will definitely be screened. But if it's a referral, you actually have an easy time to go about the whole process. So I would always suggest people who don't have a LinkedIn account to have a LinkedIn account, try to target a certain audience from their profession, and accordingly a good network will help you find out, good referrals. I mean, the whole idea of LinkedIn is very nice, that there's a good network developed, and you can also connect to people who your connections are, connecting with. So I think the whole thing is a good idea, the LinkedIn thing. So obviously you can find out good references, and obviously nobody is doing, a favor on you by giving you a job. They need people, and so a lot of people have this idea that, they're hesitant to approach people. It's not that. If your CV is good and if you're a good candidate, then people will only refer you. So I think that should be kept in mind. So, and obviously the CV should be very good, properly presented. The formatting should be neat, clean, crisp. And obviously you cannot lie in a CV. Please avoid doing that. You cannot lie in a CV, because I will get to that, why that will be a problem for you when you appear for the different rounds. There should be less of spelling mistakes, because that gives a very bad impression for a big four organization. So please get it thoroughly reviewed by your senior, by your parent, or anyone, who can give you a good idea, the way you can draft your sentence in a more better way. So I think all these things play an important role. So please do not neglect your CV, and try to get it reviewed by as many experts or as many professionals of the same industry that you're trying to be part of. And make sure that you mention all the things that you have done in a crisp manner, not just, basic things like I know MS Word, MS Excel. All that is not going to help you. Just to, fill your CV, you're just writing all those things. Try to write something out of the box, which can, actually seek the attention of the person who's trying to recruit you, which may be an HR most probably. So I think, and also it should majorly comprise of areas, your experience should comprise of areas, or your qualification should comprise of areas which are required for that particular job that you're applying. So CV is a very important role. Please thoroughly, prepare it, and prepare it as in a very better way, and try to get it reviewed as much as possible, so that it's very flawless. Okay. Now coming to an idea of the general rounds that are there in Big Fours. So let's say, for example, it may vary for some organizations, for some Big Fours, one or two Big Fours, the process may vary for graduates or for professionals. The whole process will vary, but I will try to give a general idea to you as to how this whole thing is structured. So the first round generally is conducted by your immediate senior. It can be one or two people, more than one people, more than two people, also sometimes in rarest of the rare cases, but mostly two people, because and it will be your immediate senior or somebody you manage at a manager level, who will try to assess you on the basis of technical area. So it will be a technical round basically. In a lot of big four organizations, at a lower level, let's say for example at CA articleship level, they can also conduct written tests. They can also conduct group discussions to eliminate people who would not be who will not be fitting into the role properly. So obviously there are certain policies of different organizations to make the list as short as possible and recruit the best of the candidates and the best of the talent for their organization. So all this can be there. So the first round, as I was mentioning, will be the technical round. Now, the thing that I was mentioning earlier about the CV, as to why you cannot lie in your CV, because these people will actually have a look at your CV and try to ask you questions on the basis of the work you have done. And I mean, the things that you have mentioned in your CV. Let's say, for example, you have mentioned, I'm just giving an idea. You have mentioned you like cricket. So they can dig deep into the fact that, what do you know about cricket? Like, when was the last time you played a match? Or, who holds this record? I mean, they can, grind you on the basis of that, and they can delve deep into all of those topics, because you have mentioned that in your CV, so you should be knowing. And obviously if you have had some prior experiences and you're mentioning that I'm experienced in this area, so they will try to ask you questions and try to figure out, and they can easily figure out. See, they are very smart people, they are experienced people. They can easily, from your gestures, from the way you speak, identify as to if you're lying or not. So you have to be very careful and try to avoid answering wrong. Rather, if you don't know the answer to anything, just politely say that I'm afraid I do not know the answer to this. So they will rather appreciate the fact rather than you beating around the bush. But obviously, if you are a little sure about something, you can take a rough chance or a wild chance as to if it may be right. But don't just beat around the bush just to answer something. That leaves a very bad impression as per my experience. So this will be a very technical round. They will ask you technical questions on your topic. You need to prepare for the interview, please. A lot of people think that a qualification will suffice. The things that they have learned will do. Try speaking in front of the mirror. I personally used to do it. Try speaking in front of the mirror. That gives you a lot of confidence. You stammer less. Obviously, when we are nervous, we stammer, and the person on the other side of the table would feel this person is not confident. I would never want such a person in my team. So that leaves a very bad impression. You have to be try to be very flawless. I mean, we are humans, we can make mistakes, but these are very professional interviews. You have to leave a mark for all of them. So try practicing about, and also have an idea of all the, if you are into a more of a legal profile, you need to be updated with all the amendments, all the laws. If even if it's an engineering profile, you need to be, well versed with all the things, technical things that you have learned in your academic level, because you can expect anything in the technical interview. Also, I will also like to point out the fact that in normal companies, what happens is that they ask you questions. They have a customized set of questions. Please introduce yourself. I mean, you get this question a lot, and I'm not trying to dig into how you answer this question because it is very customizable. So the fact is that they ask you very customized questions. They have a list. They ask questions only to that. But what happens in Big Fours, what I've observed is they will counter question you on the basis of what you answer. Let's say, for example, they will ask you a question, you give an answer. Now, the next question will not be already a predefined question. It will be on the basis of the answer that you're giving. So then you have, so that is when your experience comes into the picture, when you can easily answer the question, when you have worked in that field, and that is, I mean, you will be able to answer it in a better way. But if you are somebody who had lied in the CV and, trying to get into a role that you don't deserve, there will be problems for you. So better preparation, and you need to revise all the concepts even after graduating. There is no shame in, revising what you have done, because we are humans, we keep forgetting things. So please try not to follow that process and be well prepared for the interview. So this is the first round basic overview, and you need to be good to qualify for the second round, which is usually the partner round. So partner is the topmost position in the hierarchy of a Big Four generally. If you look at the Indian practice, and at a different foreign global practice of a Big Four, you will find managing directors and people. So there are two parts of Big Fours that I observed in my area of my field that I was working in. It was onshore and offshore. Offshore will be back end work, less client facing, that you interact less with the client, and the global teams will be interacting more. You are just helping them out. Indian practices, you will be leading from the front, and you will have better client facing goals. You will get traveling opportunities and all that. So the partner, getting back to what I was discussing, the partner is very experienced. You cannot deny the fact that partner, you can only reach to the partner position if you're experienced, and they can figure out anything. Like, you will feel that the partner is not observing anything, but they, observe everything right from the top to the bottom as to how much inclined you are towards the work profile, whether you would be interested. I mean, they are experienced, so you know how experience helps in all of these. From their experience, they will give you case scenarios. They will try to analyze your critical thinking ability, because it's a big responsibility, and they want the best of the people in the team. They want people to be solution providers for the organization, because it's a professional and consulting level firm. So, I mean, they want the best of the people. So they will see at the very moment if you can answer. It may not be a very perfect answer. It can be a decent answer, but it has to make sense. You cannot just say anything and expect the partner to be satisfied and contented and approve of what you're saying. So, and you will never be able to figure out in the interview if they are approving of what, because they will just nod their head and you feel you're saying the right thing, but in fact you are not. So, and also one more thing, be it any round, just try to be as confident as you can throughout the interview. Do not avoid eye contact. Eye contact is very important. That is a sign of confidence, that you are not being, intimidated by the person sitting on the other side of the table. By saying this, I just remembered a question that I get a lot that I've got a lot in the interviews, as to where do you see in the organization or in your career after so and so many years. So I like to answer this question by saying on the other side of the table. So I have generally observed that on the other side of the table, as in the person who is interviewing, I want that position. So that person is very impressed, because as a matter of fact, psychologically, you're trying to acknowledge the fact that he's in a very important position. So the person gets impressed, and also they are looking, they think that you are aspirational because you have goals. It's not like you have not decided. So you can keep that in mind when you are sitting for interviews. So the partner round will be when the partner will be assessing you basically based on the basis of your critical thinking ability, and see how much like you are well versed with everything. They will not ask you too much of technical questions, because already you have cleared a technical round, but they will ask you brief questions about your previous experiences, about what you have written in your CV, and see how well your personality is. See, they are not looking for bookish answers. I'm telling you repeatedly. They are looking for smart people. Even if you can answer in your own words, they want people who have common sense, to be very honest, and who know what they are doing, and they're confident in what they are doing. They assess your personality more than your academic knowledge. Obviously, academic knowledge plays a part, but you have to have a good personality. You need to have good soft skills and good communication skills. So I think that is important. So this is the partner round. The third round would be, let's say, for example, in organization, the global practices I mentioned, they can, request for a separate English speaking test, listening test, where they will check your English proficiency, how well you can speak, because you have to, interact globally with all the professionals, all your employees who are working elsewhere in the world. So there's a Versant test generally that is usually held. It's a more like the IELTS or TOEFL test that we take when you're going for visa interviews for the for the foreign countries. So it's more of like that. It's sometimes difficult to clear if your English proficiency is not good. So if you're applying for such role, you have to have good proficiency and you need to practice speaking, listening, reading, writing, the different domains that are over there. Next round is generally the HR round, which is the final round. So if you have cracked the partner round and Versant test, 90% chances that they're taking you in. That is why you're having HR round. So you have to be confident in that forefront. Now HR, basically they will ask you, it will be more like a friendly conversation. They will try talking to you in a friendly manner, try to assess what this person likes, what they will ask you your hobbies and all. That can be asked in the other rounds as well. But HR round is basically not a very technical round. So you are very less tensed in this round. But the main part is negotiation of salary. See, I will always recommend people to try to negotiate their salary, be there scope, be there no scope. Because you have to negotiate your salary. You cannot just agree to what they're saying. I mean, you also have to make things. I mean, if the negotiation is successful or not, that doesn't matter. You have to at least try, because negotiation is a very good skill which you need to have when you are reaching the managerial positions, and it is very important for you to actually be practicing it from the time you're entering into the industry. So please try to be very shrewd and very have good negotiation skills in whatever domain you are, be it you are buying a vegetable from a market vendor or be it you're applying for a job. Please try to have negotiation skills. It really helps you in the long run. So the HR round also you have to see, the big crux is you have to be confident and your personality should be top notch. The way you're presenting yourself, there should be no loophole in your the way you present yourself. Academic things they may neglect because they know that this is a bookish thing. The person may not recall it, but obviously it cannot be at a very large extent. But personality and soft skills is very important in a big four. I have always experienced this, and you really need to be on top of everything when you're sitting for these interviews. So please keep that in mind and try to practice speaking in front of a friend, be it your parent or anybody, so that you gain the confidence. Sometimes you stammer, you're less confident, obviously you're nervous. So please try to avoid that. Coming to my experience at all Big Fours, I have been fortunate enough to crack all Big Four interviews at PwC, KPMG, EY, and Deloitte at different phases of my career. When I was applying for my articleship, when I was qualifying post my CA qualification. So all this that I mentioned has been a summary only of what I have made out of all the interviews that have appeared and been able to crack. So basically, they will ask you questions, as I mentioned. They will counter question you a lot. It can be a stress interview sort of. I mean, it will not be a very stress interview kind of thing, because there are other organizations, the top consulting firms like BCG and Bain and McKinsey, which actually dig into deep into all of that. But here also there can be certain element of they're trying to provide you a stress interview where you fumble and they have an excuse to not hire. So all questions will be based on the answers that you give on the basis of the previous questions. So you need to be very proficient with everything that you're saying. So the only way by which you can gain this is by actually practicing and studying for the interview is very important. Please don't neglect it. I mean, no matter how small a role it is, be it a graduate level role, be it a professional entry level role, be it a managerial role. Sometimes people overemphasize on their abilities, that I am applying for a manager, I have so much experience, I can easily do it. But they grind you at a very different level. So please do not have overconfidence. Please try to study, and if you work hard, you're obviously going to get the role. So my experience has basically been around all these areas only, which I have tried to summarize and try to explain it when I was giving a brief description of the general rounds. So I mean, this is what I wanted to convey through this video. I just wanted to be clear, because I see a lot of videos. People do not try to touch every topic, and they just give a brief idea as to be how to answer this question, how to answer that. I will not be the person who tries to put into your mind what you should say or what you should not at this question, whatever question that you basic kind of question you get, because that is very subjective. It depends from person to person. But main things which I wanted to cover, which I find a lot of people not covering, I have tried to cover, and I hope it would prove to be helpful for all of you. Wishing all of you who are appearing for Big Four interviews all the very best. And also you can try to apply these things in any other interviews also which you're appearing, because generally the whole idea is same throughout the globe of all the interviews. So I think it would be helpful. So thank you very much for staying till the end of the video.